As a young man, the modern world that we live in today is arguably a very confusing place. We are shown that we don't really need to try hard in this world, and we're told that it's okay to live a life of comfort and ease. But the reality of it is, many guys don't realise that becoming a true man is a non-negotiable for any male who wants to do well in his life. And becoming a true man is not about having a certain amount of money in the bank, it's not about having a age number that you hit and then you're suddenly a man. What do you think of when you think of a truly responsible man? You see, I know guys, up to about 30, sometimes even beyond, and they're not men, they're boys. They live like boys, they live like they're 15, they play Xbox all the time, they don't go out very much, they don't have friends, they don't have a girlfriend, they don't have a meaningful job, if not a job at all, they don't make money. And the modern world, as I say, facilitates a world where you can live like this. But living like this will never make a man happy. I would argue it wouldn't make anybody happy. But we're told so much that this is okay. And the world doesn't force us to go and earn money. It doesn't force us to challenge ourselves. We can live this ease. But if you do this, you will know inside that you're living wrong. And this is the thing. You can run from it, but you can't hide from it. The fact is, you will be living a facade, you will be living a lie, and you will never have the true fulfillment. Everything will be a fake version of what a real man would chase. You see, becoming a man is scary. I've turned 21 this year, and I've realised this. It's not just about hitting an age, it's not just about getting a certain amount of money, it's not even just about getting a certain amount of skills. There are so many things which are required for a good man. And I think this is a first challenge that scares a lot of people off. For a lot of average, if not below average men in the world, they have a pretty bad experience. They do, if we're honest. They don't have good dating options, they don't have good income potential, they don't have many skills, they may not have many friends. At the same time though, for the guys who are working towards stuff genuinely, even if they're not hitting those goals now, this is how you get any kind of growth in your life. What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say if you follow the world that we live in today, you will be sort of shown a life of comfort and ease. However, this is a life which is leading to depression in men. It's a life that's leading to loneliness in men. And the reasons for this are arguably quite obvious. We are not solitary creatures. We are creatures which aspire to do better for ourselves. We aspire to build stuff for ourselves and our families. And now, for arguably the first time in human history ever, we are told that we don't have to do that. Think about it realistically. I know we talk about the cost of living being a big challenge in the modern world, and of course it is. But a lot of guys can live with parents and work maybe 2 days a week just to have, spends or maybe rent to pay their parents, and spend the rest of the time playing Xbox. And like I say, you can live like this, but don't be surprised when you have the consequences and the lifestyle of a little boy. This is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, and I feel like a lot of us face these challenges when we're growing up. It's about realising that as expectations grow, you have two choices. You can either meet them, exceed them, or arguably not even play the game at all, which is potentially even a third option. And so many guys aren't in this game to play it. Men are not supposed to have a life of ease, of comfort. We're not supposed to have an idle life of sitting about. We're supposed to be exploring, we're supposed to be building stuff for ourselves. Adventuring, taking risks. You know how many grown men, and this is true, hear me out on this, right? Because this is something that I have seen in the real world. I'm not giving some internet sensationalization. This is something that I've seen. How many grown men are too scared to approach a girl that they find attractive. You may still get rejected. It may not go anywhere. But at the same time, think about this. Men 100 years ago? Yeah, 100 years ago. We're running into battlefields. Comparative to that, we've now gotten to a point where guys are afraid to ask a girl out. or even say hi to her? Look at businesses. How many guys tell me in the comment section, well, I can't start a business, it's too hard, or I work full time, or it's too risky, right? And then I say two things. Number one, you obviously don't want any kind of success. If you're afraid to talk to a girl, and you're not willing to, at the very least, learn how to, let's say, you can't say you want that in your life. If you're not willing to take the risk on business, I would argue that the same applies. If you're not willing to learn about it as well. So bringing this as a point of contrast into today's discussion, only 100 or so years ago, if not less, we were running into wars. We were working in factories, mines, for 10 plus hours a day. And now most guys are at a point where, fair enough, this is sort of societal evolution, and I think it is a good thing to a degree. But we're at a point where how many guys now are scared about even crushing an 8-hour day of work? They can't even talk to a girl. And I'm not saying these are necessarily the things to aspire to. Set your own parameters of success. But most guys are living this baby life. And I mean completely. I know some guys are going to go fully harsh and say, well, by aged 18 you should have a mortgage, you should have a wife, you should have a... No, that's not really realistic for most guys. I will say it myself. I don't have everything in my life, but I'm working towards it. Have you ever watched a film with a male, let's say protagonist, right? The guy is almost always in his late 20s, if not mid 30s, if not even older than that. I think that's because it shows that you can't really, or the reason why it's so acceptable is because it highlights the fact that you can't necessarily achieve all of these things in such a short period of time. Like at 18, 20, or my age 21, what are you even expected to know? That doesn't mean that you can't try. Get a job, talk to girls, get a car, take on some risk. Because if guys are afraid to take on risk or make any changes, they're in a place where, look, life is going to pass them by. And I know what people think. This is like a societal norm. It's like, I'm 30, I'm 40, so I'm this... I'm not trying to be rude, but I almost guarantee, maybe I'm just being naive, but I almost guarantee there's some 40-year-olds who I know, who I have had more life experiences than. And I don't say that with any sort of happiness, because it doesn't make me happy. But I've probably been to more places, met more people, done more experiences, had more highs and lows. And I don't say that in any sort of a way to brag. I'm not saying I'm the perfect example, because I am not. I'm on a learning process myself. What I am trying to say, though, is that as a fact alone is worrying to me. Because how can somebody nearly double my age have half the experience? Well, because we live in a world which makes it so easy for men. But have you ever noticed, and I hear this as an internet argument all the time, however, a lot of guys like to spin it in a different way than what I would say. A lot of guys like to say, well, girls only go for the most attractive options. Well, why is that not you? And that sounds really harsh, and perhaps even arrogant or naive. I know ugly guys. I would even say ugly. No offence to them. I know guys who are not attractive, and they've got girlfriends or have fairly okay look with girls, because it's not all about looks. They are top, or at least decent, in their field. They can talk well, they can interact, they have the confidence to meet. The truth is, the guys who try in this world, and I don't just mean in regards to girls, in regards to money, in regards to career options, in regards to travel, in regards to risk management, in regards to fitness, the ones who actually are in the game have a have an infinitely higher potential than the guys who are not. And a lot of guys are not in the game. They think that an age, 25, 30, 40, means that they explicitly and directly have relatable experiences, which is not true. A worrying amount of guys are not adults, are not men. They live at home, They have no management, no aspirations over their own life. No path, no plan. No confidence, no experience. The list goes on. And I don't make a video like this to brag. I don't make a video like this to shame anybody either. It's my intention to do neither of those. What I do need to do, though, is bring this up just as a discussion, as a fact of today's society. And I think this is an undeniable fact. The amount of guys who are scared to take a chance on themselves. And this is because we live in a world now, not where you had to go out to work at age 7 to make ends meet for the family, but where you don't even have to work at all. I don't think it's right, but that is the way, right? We've made videos about this before, and we've heard the comments of people who don't work. And I'm not saying a job is where it's at, but what are you doing in life? What are these guys doing in life? They're not experiencing. I've got some terrible experiences. And this is part of what it takes to become a man. So have you guys, probably. Terrible experiences. And you can look back and say, well, there was a lesson there. There was a lesson there. And this is another thing, right? This is probably the biggest thing. A lot of guys are scared. Fundamentally scared. They are not willing to accept failure, loss, pain, risk. And I feel like that's why we have a lot of these guys saying, well, the world's corrupt, because of course the world is corrupt, undeniably, but you can still try. Well, girls are, how many girls have you even tried to speak to? You're scared of being rejected, you're scared of incurring financial challenges, you're scared of working long hours, on businesses, on yourself, on the gym. A lot of guys haven't had any fight experience, haven't had any business failure, haven't broken up and had a painful relationship. And I'm not saying that these are the measures of a man, but what I am saying is this. You guys know this is pain, right? When you get punched, that is pain. Like if anybody has been punched before, you will know this. Like a proper punch is painful. Heartbreak is painful. Business failure and losing money is painful. You know, and these may not be that big to some people. But at the same time, these are real world measures. And so many guys are living in these childlike measures because they can. They can. And here is the thing. Here is my message on this point. You can live like a child forever. Please, if you want to do that, do it. But living like a child will give you childlike results. Live like you're 15, you will have the life outcomes of a 15-year-old. Play Xbox all day, live at home, don't go out, don't have a job, don't have a business, don't have aspirations, don't travel, don't drive, don't date. But don't complain about the world. The more I try, the more I realise that there is potential out there in anything you want. Not all jobs are bad. Not all houses are ridiculously expensive. Not all girls are bad. These seem like common sense realities, but at the same time, the internet is such a polarised place, and it's going to be when we have so many men that are not men. They're 50-year-old children, they're 30-year-old children, they're 21-year-old children. And some people say that I am more enlightened to this than other people. I can perhaps even somewhat agree based on what I hear when I talk to my other peers of my same age. But that's fine. I would say, in my opinion, right, if you're under 25, you can still mess about. I would rather just get some money up, get some real life experience, travel, have experiences in all regards, but you can be that loser type. However, I feel like it's a linear path out of it. So, coming up to 25, maybe 30 at a very, very far push, but I'd say realistically 25 at the worst, you should be starting to build. So obviously as a child, you are completely dependent. You're a child. But you should be starting to break out of the childlike parameters as you get older, right? Maybe you buy a car when you're 17, so that's the difference between when you're 15. Maybe that means that you need to get a job, so now we're up here. Maybe you date a bit more, so you're finally getting some experience in that. Maybe you're building a career, maybe you're building a business, maybe you're moving out, maybe you're moving countries. So now we're building this sort of progression. So many guys are flatlining since school, since college, since university. Not even university, really. It's worrying. It's a worrying trend in society, and becoming a man does not just happen. So many guys need to realise this. This is a big, big point. It's a big, big reality. It's a fact. And we need to bring more attention to this issue, because I think a lot of guys are going to be in for a shock in their future otherwise. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you soon. Goodbye. Look after yourselves, guys.